Have you always wondered the difference between a traditional box braid and a knotless braid? Well, this is the video for you. For the purpose of this video, these are the products I'll be using, and I'll tell you a little history about how traditional box braids came around and the origin of knotless braids. Stay tuned. So we have the all-day locks braid gel for clean parts and sectioning. Let's get right into it. First of all, what are knotless braids? These are types of protective styles, usually individual braids like box braids, but with a key twist on the technique. Instead of starting with knots at the roots using synthetic hair, your stylist braid a section of your natural hair, first about an inch or two, then gradually feeds in with the extension or the hair bit by bit. No knots means no bulk at the base, so the braids lie flatter and feels lighter, and it puts less tension on the scalp. Knotless braids aren't some random 2020s inventions. Their roots go straight back to traditional African braiding techniques, where braids have been part of culture for thousands of years. Braiding in Africa dates back to at least 3500 BC, that's over 5,000 years ago, with evidence from ancient cave painting in the Sahara and practices among tribes like the Himba in Namibia. The modern knotless method is a natural and creative evolution of those ancient feeding techniques, refined over time to prioritize hair health. Traditional box braids with a knot at the root became huge in the 90s thanks to icons like Janet Jackson and the Poetic Justice. But by the late 2010, around 2015 to 2020, stylists in cities like New York, Atlanta, Dallas, and LA started perfecting the knotless version as a gentler alternative. It exploded in popularity because more people were embracing natural hair care and wanted protective styles without pain or damage. So while knotless braids feel new, they are really a modern take on Asian African artistry. Knotless braids are preferred mostly because of the less tension and pain. No knot means no pulling at the roots, so goodbye to headaches and traction alopecia risks. It feels lighter and it looks flatter, and also it brings healthier edge growth because there is no tagging and pulling of your actual hair since you start the braids with your own natural hair at the roots. Traditional box braids dates to as far back as 3500 BCE, approximately 5,500 years ago in southern Africa. Other regions such as Namibia, among tribes like Mbalantu and Himba, styles such as Mbuvi braids served as the rite of passage. Young girls learned braiding from elders, and at around age 16, their hairs were styled into long, thick individual braids for womanhood initiation ceremony. These often reached ankle length using natural hair aid like animal fats and plant ground. In Nile Valley, including ancient Egypt around 3000 BCE, chain-length box style individual braids or extensions were common, sometimes with added fiber or human hair. Egyptians of all classes wore elaborate braided style, occasionally with extensions. Across West Africa, the Sahel, and the Horn of Africa, individual braids appeared from at least 3000 BCE, often adorned with beads, shells, or jewels. Braiding isn't purely aesthetic. During the transatlantic slave trade in the 15th and the 19th centuries, enslaved Africans carried these techniques across the Atlantic. In some Caribbean islands, specific braid pattern mapped escape routes or hid seeds and tools for survivals. This was an act of quiet rebellion, despite the efforts of slave masters to erase their identity by forcing them to shave their hair. Our forefathers and ancestors managed to bring back braiding as a way of reclaiming heritage and protecting their hair in harsh conditions. And there you have it, the incredible journey of traditional box braids from the ancient lands of South Africa around the 3500 BCE, where women parted hair into those signature square sections and wove stories of identity, status, and community right into their strands. To the Nile Valley, Namibia's Mbuvi braids, marking womanhood and countless African tribes, using them as a living language of heritage and resilience. These braids survived the transatlantic slave trade as acts of quiet resistance, protecting hair, hiding seeds of hope, and mapping paths to freedom. So next time you sit for hours getting your box braids done, remember, you are not just getting a style. You're wearing thousands of years of artistry, survival, and beauty. You're connected to queens, warriors, storytellers, and everyday legends who braided before us. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into our roots.